Hello, dear children. Welcome back. I'm Dr. Jisha Jo. In this session, we shall have a look at the human respiratory system. The respiratory system in humans consists of two components: the respiratory organs and the respiratory tract. We have already seen what are the respiratory organs in humans. They are the lungs. So respiratory organs are the lungs, and the respiratory tract includes those regions through which the air passes, or the air has to pass in order to reach the lungs. Okay, so these include the nostrils, the nasal chamber or the nasal cavity, the pharynx, the larynx, trachea, bronchi, and bronchioles. So these are the parts of the respiratory tract. Okay, so the respiratory system in humans consists of two components. They are the respiratory organs and the respiratory tract. Respiratory organs are the lungs. Respiratory tract is the passage through which the air has to flow in order to reach the lungs. These include the nostrils, the nasal chamber, the pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi, and the bronchioles. So as we have seen, the respiratory tract begins with a pair of nostrils. Nostrils are the two openings of the nose. The nostrils lead into the nasal chamber. There are two nasal chambers. The nasal chambers are separated by a nasal septum at the center. So air enters into the respiratory tract through the nostrils. Okay, so I'm just drawing the figure. That is the nose. That is the mouth. Okay, the chin. Okay, that is enough. Okay, so the opening of the nose is the nostril. Pair of nostrils are present. The nostrils lead into a chamber which is called as the nasal chamber. Now there are three regions for the nasal chamber. Nasal chamber has three regions. The first region, okay, NC, that is the nasal chamber. It is differentiated into three regions. The first region is the vestibular region. Vestibular region. This region has hairs and sebaceous glands present. Okay, hairs and sebaceous glands are present in this region. And it is this region, due to the presence of the hairs and the sebum secreted by the sebaceous glands, the dust particles get stuck on the hairs before they enter into the respiratory tract. So the dust particles that are present in the inspired air will be removed by the hairs present in the vestibular region of the nasal chamber. The second region of the nasal chamber is the respiratory region. Okay, respiratory region. Vestibular region. The respiratory region has mucus and serous glands. Mucus glands and serous glands are present. in this region, that is the respiratory region. These glands are responsible for the secretion of mucus and some watery fluid into the inspired air. So this region of the nasal chamber actually acts as an air conditioner. It helps in moistening the air and also warms up the inhaled air. Okay, so the three processes, that is the removal of dust particles, the warming up of the air and the moistening of the air, takes place in the nasal chamber. And that is the reason why we say that we should always breathe through the nose and not through the mouth. If we breathe through the mouth, these processes will not take place. The removal of dust particles will not take place as there are no hairs in the mouth. Then the warming up of the air is not taking place, and the moistening of the air is also not taking place when we breathe through the mouth. So that is the reason why we say that we should always breathe through the nose. Okay, three things are taking place when we breathe through the nose: removal of dust particles because of the presence of hairs at the vestibular region of the nasal chamber, then moistening of the inhaled air, as well as warming up of the inhaled air occurs at the second region, that is the respiratory region. Now moving on to the third region, that is the olfactory region. Okay, as the name of the region indicates, olfactory region. As the name indicates, this region has the sensory cells for smell, detection of odor. Okay, sensory cells for smell are located in this region, which helps in detecting the smell or the odor of the inhaled air. So these are the different regions of the nasal chamber. So air has now passed through the opening, that is the nostrils. It has reached the nasal chamber. As it passes through the nasal chamber, removal of dust particles will take place. Then the warming up of the air and moistening of the air takes place. And at the innermost region of the nasal chamber, there is the olfactory cells, sensory cells, which are responsible for detecting the smell, are present again in the nasal chamber. Now the nasal chamber leads to the next region. Okay, the next region, that is the pharynx. Pharynx. So the part of the pharynx just behind the nasal chamber is the nasopharynx. Nasopharynx, and the part of the pharynx behind the mouth, that is the mouth. Okay, so it also opens into the pharynx. This is the oral pharynx. Okay, so we can see that pharynx is a common passage for both air as well as food. Air as well as food passes through the common passage, which is the pharynx. So nostrils leads to the nasal chamber, the nasal chamber leads to the pharynx. Two regions or parts of the pharynx: the nasopharynx, which is located behind the nasal chamber, and the oral pharynx, which is located at the level of the soft palate, at the behind at the opening of the mouth there. That is the oral pharynx. So pharynx is a common passage for both air and food. Now the pharynx leads into a cartilaginous structure. Cartilaginous structure, as you can see, it is an enlarged region a cartilaginous structure which is called as the larynx. Larynx is otherwise called as the voice box. Okay, it is an enlarged region seen just above the trachea. Just below the larynx is the trachea. Just at the top of the trachea, you can see an enlarged portion which is cartilaginous in nature, and it is called as the larynx or the voice box. The larynx has two membranous folds called vocal cords. Okay, two membranous folds called vocal cords are present in the larynx, and as air is forcibly pushed through the vocal cords, through these two membranous folds, the vocal cords begin to vibrate, producing sound. That is how sound comes out. Okay, so larynx is the voice box. It is a cartilaginous structure which is present above the trachea or at the start of the trachea. You can see the larynx. The larynx has two membranous folds which are called as the vocal cords. The vocal cords, as the air passes forcibly through the vocal cords begin to vibrate, producing the sound. Okay, so that is the larynx. Then the larynx, that is the oral pharynx. The region where the larynx opens into the oral pharynx is the two membranous folds, as we have seen, the vocal cords. Here there is a slit there. Okay, that slit is present there. That is called as the epiglottis. Sorry, the glottis. Okay, the larynx opens into the oral pharynx by a slit-like aperture. That is the glottis. And the glottis is guarded by a flap which is called as the epiglottis. That is the epiglottis. Epiglottis is a flap that is present at the opening of the glottis, and the function of the epiglottis is to close the glottis when we swallow the food. Okay, that is the reason we say that we should not talk while eating food, because we know pharynx is a common passage for both air as well as food. So when we talk, the epiglottis remain open, the flap is open, flap remains high, the glottis or the aperture into the larynx also remain open. So there is a chance for the food to enter into the trachea. Okay, so if we don't talk, the epiglottis, the flap, will close the glottis, preventing the food from entering further into the respiratory tract. The food will pass from the pharynx into the esophagus, which is the food pipe. Okay, so that is with regard to the larynx. So larynx, so again starting from the beginning, we have the nostrils. The nostrils, now through the nostrils the air has reached the nasal chamber. From the nasal chamber it has passed through the pharynx and it has reached the larynx. Okay, it enters the larynx through the slit-like aperture which is called as the glottis. The glottis is guarded by a flap which is called as the epiglottis. Okay, that is the flap which I have drawn in blue color, which closes the glottis while we swallow the food, preventing the food from entering into the trachea. Now, next region of the respiratory tract is the trachea. Okay, that is the trachea. Trachea leads or divides into two. So that is the trachea. The two branches of the trachea are called as the bronchi. Bronchus is singular, bronchi is plural. And you can see C-shaped cartilaginous structures in the shape of C. You can see on the trachea as well as on the bronchi, you can see the opening of the C is directed backwards. Okay, so we can see the C-shaped rings with the opening of the C-shaped cartilaginous rings directed backwards. Okay, so the function of these C-shaped rings is to provide flexibility to the trachea, and it also helps to keep the trachea distended permanently. Okay, the C-shaped cartilaginous rings provide flexibility to the trachea and keep the trachea as well as the bronchi distended permanently. So now the air has passed through the larynx into the trachea. From the trachea, it has passed into the bronchi. The trachea divides into two bronchi. Okay, now the bronchi, that is the first branch is the primary bronchi. The second branch is the secondary bronchi. This divides to form the secondary bronchi. The secondary bronchi divides to form the tertiary bronchi. Okay, so this is the primary bronchi. This is the secondary bronchi. I'll just mark. That is the primary. That is the secondary bronchi. The secondary bronchi divides to form the tertiary bronchi. Okay, and the tertiary bronchi divides again to form finer branches which are called as the bronchioles. The finer branches are called as the bronchioles. These are the bronchioles. Bronchioles. These bronchioles lack cartilaginous rings. Cartilaginous rings are present in the trachea. They are present on the primary, the secondary, as well as on the tertiary bronchi. They are present, but they are absent in the bronchioles. Okay, these bronchioles again redivide to form finer branches. These finer branches are called as the respiratory bronchioles. So as we have seen, the bronchioles divide to finer branches called as the terminal bronchioles, and the terminal bronchioles again further divide into finer branches which are called as the alveolar ducts. The alveolar ducts lead into the alveolar sac. Okay, the alveolar sac has a large number of alveoli, or the air sacs are present there. Alveolar sac contain large number of alveoli present. So actually the branching network of the bronchi, bronchioles and the alveoli together form the lungs. Okay, the branching network of the bronchi, the bronchioles and the alveoli together form the lungs. So the entire network, the lungs are actually formed of the branching network of the bronchi, bronchioles and the alveoli. Okay, where are the lungs present? We know we have a pair of lungs. Where are the lungs present? The lungs are present in the thoracic cavity, and the lung has a protective covering which is called as the pleural membrane or the pleura. It is a double layered membrane. The outer membrane and inner membrane are present, and the two membranes are separated by a space, and this space is filled with a fluid which is called as the pleural fluid. Okay, and the function of the pleural fluid is to reduce friction on the lung surface. Okay, as the lung expands and contracts due to the intake and release of air, friction might be caused, and this reduction of friction on the lung surface occurs because of the presence of pleural fluid in between the two pleural membranes. So the lung is present in the thoracic cavity. The lung has a double membraned covering which is called as the pleura. The two membranes are the outer pleura and the inner pleura. The space between the two pleural membranes are filled with a fluid which is called as the pleural fluid, and the function of the pleural fluid is to reduce the friction on the lung surface. Now, as I told you, the lungs are present. We have a pair of lungs. The lungs are present in the thoracic cavity. The lungs are protected by the ribs laterally. Ribs are present laterally. Then the sternum is present ventrally. Then the vertebral column is present dorsally, and the diaphragm is present basally. These structures are present to protect the lungs which are present in the thoracic cavity. So at the base we have the diaphragm. Okay, dorsally we have the vertebral column, ventrally we have the sternum, and laterally we have the rib bones to protect the lungs. So lungs remain secure and safe inside the thoracic cavity. So from the nostrils to the bronchioles, these regions from the nostrils to the bronchioles are called as the conducting parts because they are concerned with the transportation of air, purification of air, humidification of air, and it is through these parts the air enters into the body. So these parts from the nostrils to the terminal bronchioles are called as the conducting parts, and the alveoli are called as the exchanging parts or the respiratory parts, because actual diffusion or actual gaseous exchange takes place at the alveolar level or in the alveoli. So children, I hope this session is clear to you. If you have any doubts, please ask your doubts and give your suggestions in the comment section. Thank you.